Hey, it's Kim K, and episode 3 has finally been released. Now to start off the episode, we look around the House of the Black and White. Now I really like this beginning because it showcases exactly how the books portray this entire House of Black and White as a multicultural, ritual area of sacred and death. A lot of YouTubers that have done reviews on this episode really haven't picked up that beginning area and the significance it had at showcasing all the different religions and what the House of Black and White stands for. So we see Arya here as a janitor as the House of Black and White, which is kind of interesting because, you wouldn't really picture Arya as a kind of janitor person. So here we see the Waif. Arya and the Waif are going to have a lot of interaction this entire season because they do most of the stuff that she does in the House of Black and White together or by herself. The only thing about her and the inhabitants of Braavos that's kind of annoying is that they all know English when they wouldn't know that. It's Braavos, it's a different place, it's a different language, a different culture. But it's something I'll get over, it's not that big of a deal. Now this scene with Arya getting rid of all the clothes and materials that she had from her past life was absolutely amazing. What I particularly like about it is you can feel the tension and emotion it's portraying as she recognizes the significance of giving up her old life for this new one. Now the way I see her portraying Needle in that scene is her kind of like packing away a souvenir from her previous life, a memento for her to remember Arya and how she was way before all this happened. The only downside from Arya's scene throughout this episode was that ending part when they had that awkward silence when she wasn't going to explain why she was washing the bottles or where it would go. It's not like I don't like or appreciate or understand what they're trying to do there with that scene, I just don't feel like they did it very well. Personally, like a cryptic or witty response would have been way better than just straight up silence. Now I was very surprised with the speed at which they passed through this entire wedding. I thought it would be a bit more than it was, but it's okay. The main focus of the entire section was just mainly on them in bed and how Margaery has influenced him to do certain things. What I loved about this amazing scene was how it portrays how innocent and how unknowing he is. It's like, that is exactly like how would you think a first timer would be, and she's just kind of like laughing at the fact that he's just like ignorant to the fact of what's happening here. All in all, I liked the scene entirely. The way he was portrayed with Margaery and Tommen was absolutely great. I couldn't think of any better way to portray that scene. By the way, any book freedom readers feel really awkward throughout this entire scene knowing he's like 4 or 5 or 6, whatever it is in the books. Hey, I'm not here to judge, but it's just highly illegal in every other country in the world. No biggie. Now, I've seen in previous reviews and episodes and other videos that I've made that I'm not a big fan of Brienne and Podrick's scenes and stuff like that. Like, Brienne without Podrick would be absolutely terrible. Like, I would want to slap her and get her off the screen because it's just absolutely annoying to have her there without the awesome companion, Podrick. But this episode is the exception. Now this scene could be arguably the best one of the entire episode. I absolutely love it when backstories are portrayed in such an amazing way. Now I mentioned in previous videos with Sam Tarly, Cersei and a whole bunch of other characters that I really like to know what makes them work, the reason they click, the reasons they make the decisions. Their backstory is kind of like, the manual that tells you how to fix a car. Or why it just broke down and ran into your parents' house and blew everything up and killed your family. Now, if you remember a few videos back that I said that Red Tomb Review predicted that Sansa would be going to Winterfell, and now we have proof that he's right. This was like the huge, twist plot bomb on the entire episode that's going to change up the entire season and Sansa's storyline from this point on. Now, the main thing that's scaring me about this entire wedding, and things that are getting planned, is that we've already had Margaery and Tommen's wedding, so that's not going to be the big dramatic wedding of this season. So it may be Sansa's and Ramsay's wedding. Red Wedding 2.0, uh-oh. Now, I would like to go into more depth about what's going to be happening here and stuff like that, but I have no idea. I'm just going to save my opinion for now and wait till we find more about what's going to happen with the storyline, how it's going to process, how Sansa's going to react to it, how the characters around her is going to react, like Reek and stuff, and then we'll see how it goes from there. One quick mention, I really did like how Reek hid away from Sansa as she was coming. I feel like this entire thing is leading up to something that we've already seen before, and it's going to come around and repeat itself again. I'll let you guys guess what you think that's going to be. Some of the most interesting reactions and interactions throughout Sansa's bit here was the bit between Roose Bolton and Petar Baelish. Now, both of these characters are going on a big risk allying together. They both don't really know each other that well. They've got completely different backgrounds and ways that they deal with things. Plus, they're both making a huge, gamble going against the Lannisters, the Crown, and things that they previously had allied with. The cool thing is, like, Peter Baelish is a really witty, probably more intelligent than Roose Bolton, but Roose Bolton is very cold and calculating. He has that very brutality. Like, if he doesn't like Peter Baelish, doesn't trust him, he'll just go ahead and kill him. Like, he ain't gonna go that middle ground. He ain't gonna secretly plot some spies on him, uncover the truth and reveal him to the Queen or some shit like that. He's going to just cut his throat. Now, a real highlight for this episode is they finally portray Stannis like he's truly supposed to be from the books. Throughout the entire show, they've been butchering his character, like, giving him no relief. Like, he's an amazing character who you root for in the books, but for this, he's kind of like this side, annoying character that has some weird sections you don't care about. I feel like the show would have almost cut him out without Melisandre's boobs in there. The reason why I feel like this episode truly honors his great character, what he is that line when Stannis is urging that Jon Snow send Thorne away, and he replies with, "I thought it was best to keep your enemies close." And then Stannis says, whoever said that didn't have many enemies. Ugh. Now, what I feel like the best part of Jon's storyline is for this episode is when he's assigning jobs to the members of the Night's Watch. Now, the entire time when he was talking about the Dream Pit, we all thought he was going to assign it to Thorne. Now, Jon Snow, instead of being revengeful and a bit of a dick, he used a smart move and decided to make Thorne an ally so he can secure the Watch and make sure they all work together. Naming Thorne First Ranger was a great honour for him, and it made him immediately the ally that allowed him to execute Jon Slinch and a whole much more, and gain more control and security over the Night's Watch. Plus, if he's First Ranger, he won't be around that much, he has a higher chance of dying, and he won't be able to contradict lots of his decisions if he's not there. He also wanted to get rid of Janos Slinch as well, that's why he tried to give him command of Greyguard. Now, Janos Slinch kind of defying his orders in the front of the entire Night's Watch was his first test that he kind of passed. Now, brutally killing a sobbing man who's like begging for his life ain't the bravest or most honourable thing you can do, but letting him live was definitely the wrong decision to do there. What I love is how Jon Snow's action mirrored what Robb Stark had to do executing the Karstark. This episode shows you kind of like Jon Snow's dark side, his brutal side. He can be a very menacing and brutal person along with his smart, calculating, and honest and compassionate person. Another big thing that happened in this episode was the High Septon getting outed at that brothel. I like how the show's using the High Septon to show what the Sparrows are like and what they're doing. Now, I can't say for sure if the show's going to put it in, but that walk of shame that the High Septon can do could be a giant foreshadowing for something that happens in the books that they may put in the show. From what we've seen so far from the Sparrows, they seem like a radical, dangerous bunch, and that's what they are, and that's what they need to be portrayed as. But the High Sparrow himself is a completely different person who stands for the right kind of morals, and just needs to take those in the steps to get there. So basically, the High Sparrow is an old man who saw the poverty and destruction that was happening to the lower class people from the War of the Five Kings. So he left his home, travelled around Westeros, helping people out, sharing his knowledge of the faith and giving forgiveness and so on like that, and gathering a huge following. After Tywin's death, they managed to go to the capital and root out the main position for the faith. Now, personally myself, I'm going to be really interested to see how the High Sparrow and Cersei Lannister interacts throughout the season. I hope it's going to be amazing, and I really look forward to more of it. To wrap up this review, we move to everyone's favourite horny dwarf, Tyrion. Now, before I start, that shot is absolutely incredible. I just love how amazing that looks and the CGI effect. The CGI format for Braavos and Atlantis are both being really incredible at the moment, and I really look forward to more of that kind of CGI stuff. So Tyrion finally leaves that fucking box and moves out into the city of Atlantis. I also like the way that they show casually throw in like some knowledge and background history about Atlantis and how the slaving works there. Ever since Peter Baelish left his brothel, we've been kind of lacking on background history and stuff. So Tyrion and Varys move to watch this Red Priestess do her chant and relate that to the people of the slaves, telling about Azor Ahai. One thing to note out there, does anyone know how Tyrion knows what she's saying, which means Tyrion knows High Valyrian, which is pretty interesting. Also, if you look very closely, you can see a tear tattoo on her face. That stare she gave Tyrion was very similar to the one that Melisandre gave to Jon Snow on that lift. #16. The highlight for Tyrion this episode was that interaction he had with that bodyguard outside the brothel. It's good luck to rub a dwarf's head.
It's even better luck to suck a dwarf's cock.
Almost as good as Stannis' line. Now we all know what happens next with Jorah Mormont capturing him. Now this happens in the book as well, but it happens a bit later on with this whole other story that I've obviously skipped now. Probably shouldn't have been saying all that stuff about his prior life to that whore. Okay, that's it for this review. If you guys have any questions, then put it in the comment section below. Also, quick question. What queen do you think he's taking him to? Cersei or Daenerys? If you have read the book, then don't put, I read the books. This is the answer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.